Mangwanani Mwalelepo Vukenjani Kwaswanawe Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. Speaking of the African continent, conquering the beyond, the Springboks made the entire continent proud as they became rugby world champions back to back on Saturday, becoming the first team to win it 4 times. Incredible.
Incredible. I know you had a good weekend. You really had a good weekend. I saw how you were celebrating the whole weekend.
Arsenal won, Springboks won, Man United lost. All was aligned. All was aligned.
Everything was aligned this
Absolutely.
weekend. Well, let's take a look at what you can expect in today's broadcast. Customers of Takealot to receive millions in refunds. Home countries of major rainforests agreed to work together. Nyanza ready to support President Ruto in the 2027 general election. We'll also be crossing over to Talengore in Zimbabwe, who'll be filling us in on the latest news there. Much later in the show, Ari Hohat will be bringing us the latest in the sports news. Do stay tuned for this and more on Africa Good Morning.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
All right, now if you cashed in with Takealot before the Boks win, it might be time for you to cash out because the local online retail giant is expected to hand out roughly 10 million rand in refunds to customers following a Samsung television promotion now that the Springboks have won the Rugby World Cup. Now ahead of the tournament, Takealot promoted a list of qualifying Samsung television sets and promised customers who bought them a full refund of the promotional purchase price should the Springboks clinch victory in the final. Now on Saturday night, the Springboks claimed the Webb Ellis Trophy after beating New Zealand by 1 point. This victory saw South Africa become the first country to win the World Championship 4 times. Sticking to its promise, the retail giant confirmed to News 24 that it will be giving 10 million rand worth of refunds for 867 sold TVs to 815 customers.
In our next story, countries that are home to the world's 3 major rainforests agreed on Saturday to cooperate to overcome deforestation and safeguard biodiversity, but fell short of a concrete alliance to protect the vital carbon sinks. The announcement came on the final day of the Congo Republic-hosted 3-Basin Summit, which brought together presidents, NGOs, technical experts, and finance sector officials to strengthen governance and preservation of the Amazon, the Congo Basin, and forests in the Southeast Asia. The countries recognized the importance of cooperation and agreed to develop ways to protect the forest in a 7-point plan. Republic of Congo Environment Minister Arlette Soudan Naunald said that they have realized that joining forces is an absolute necessity and have recognized that the initiative to unite the 3 basins is part of an inevitable dynamic. Deforestation increased 4% worldwide in 2022, according to an October report showing countries went further off track from pledges made at the 2021 UN climate talks to halt and reverse loss and degradation by 2030.
Now, Nyanza region has embraced William Ruto's presidency and locals will support the president during the next general elections. Information, Communication and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo has said. Now, Owalo said that the positive attitude of the Kenya Kwanza government that has seen the region benefit from numerous projects and appointment of several sons and daughters of Nyanza to head several government institutions has had a positive impact on the locals. He was speaking at St. Philip's Rakombe Church of the Savior in Rarieda sub-county today, where he was joined by Uasin Gishu Governor Jonathan Shelelim B in a public service for Thanksgiving ceremony. As a region, we will support the Kenya Kwanza administration now and even in future because Dr. Ruto has proved to us that he is focused on developing the region, said the cabinet secretary. He said that Kenya Kwanza government was committed to developing the country without discrimination, adding that the time for politics was over.
In our next story, Israel further intensified its attacks on Gaza on Sunday, warning its war on Hamas would be long and difficult. As calls mounted to end the violence and the Red Cross warned of intolerable suffering, the United Nations said thousands more civilians could die in Gaza as Israel announced the war had entered a second stage, with ground forces still operating inside the Hamas-run territory more than 24 hours after entering it on Friday. Israel unleashed a massive bombing campaign after Hamas gunmen stormed across the Gaza border on October 7th, killing 1,400 people, mostly civilians, and seizing 230 hostages, according to Israeli officials. Since then, relentless Israeli strikes on Gaza have killed more than 8,000 people, half of them children, the Hamas-controlled health ministry in the territory said on Saturday. Now, communications were meanwhile gradually being restored in Gaza on Sunday after more than 24-hour blackouts. Thousands of buildings have been flattened in the overcrowded territory of 2.4 million people, with more than half the population displaced as Israel imposed a near-total siege.
Moving forward, Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo discussed regional and international issues with the EU's top diplomat yesterday in Accra. On the occasion, Ghana received a fleet of some 100 armored vehicles from the European Union. Ghana, along with Gulf of Guinea neighbors Togo, Benin and Ivory Coast, is increasingly at risk from jihadi violence wreaking havoc in the Sahel. It is imperative to understand that no single country can confront the terrorist threat on its own, Ghana's president said. The delivery of militarized vehicles is officially part of the aid that would later include aerial surveillance equipment and electronic warfare systems. In a statement, the EU said the Ghana aid was part of a broader €616 million package to strengthen the defense and security of the four coastal countries of the Gulf of Guinea. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. After the break, more news coming your way.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
So as we promised, there's more news now, but it is all stemming from Zimbabwe being funneled into NTV by the one and only Talent Gore. How are you, Talent?
I'm all right. Mangwana Nakanaka Africa.
Mangwanani Akanaka. Let's get straight into it. There is another cholera outbreak in Zimbabwe. Please give us the details.
Yes, apparently the first cholera case was reported in February, and there was a time that it seemed like everything was in control. But now cholera continues to spread, with 50 new cases in Chitungwiza on Friday and 29 new cases on Saturday. Zimbabwe has seen growing instances of cholera, with Chitungwiza, which is a dormitory town close to Harare, emerging as another hotspot earlier this year. Since February, the country has recorded 5,788 suspected cholera cases, 38 laboratory confirmed deaths, and 120 suspected cholera deaths. The outbreak has now spread to more than the 17 traditional cholera hotspots, and the government has instructed that all burials which are being done shall be supervised regardless of the cause of death in all cholera-affected areas to reduce transmission, and that public health measures be enforced in all communities reporting cholera. So now the general populace in Zimbabwe is now afraid of the repetition of what happened in 2008, where thousands and thousands of people died due to cholera. Right now, as it stands, we do not have potable water in most cities or in most locations. In Harare, they do not have potable water. They do not have they do not have water, and the council is not collecting garbages. They're just leaving it as it is. So now the government is stepping in, and they have instructed EMA, which is the Environmental Management Agency, to take charge of the refuse in Harare and at least help the council to collect those if they are not able to do it themselves. But the issue of water has been causing headaches among the government and even the city council, because right now there is no water in most places. In Harare, people are depending on bore water and also bowsers.
Now, in your next story, Vice President Chiwenga's ex-wife tells the court, "Do as you wish." What's going on there?
Yes, so Vice President's ex-wife, Mary Mbaiwa, has been in and out of the courts. She's being charged for trying to kill her husband when in 2021. So Vice President Constantino Chiwenga's ex-wife, Mary Mbaiwa, yesterday told Harare magistrate to do as she wishes after her lawyer had renounced urgency. Mbaiwa, who is facing a charge of attempt and kill her estranged husband, was asked by the magistrate if she was comfortable to proceed to trial without her lawyer. Her lawyer, Beatrice Mtetwa, had renounced urgency in protest over the way the case was being handled. Mtetwa had asked the court for a postponement, arguing that a client was in pain following a leg surgery. But the magistrate adjourned the matter for close to 20 minutes, and she also asked Mbaiwa to provide doctor's documents that showed she had surgery. However, argued that a picture of a hole on Mbaiwa's thigh should have served as enough evidence, but the magistrate still requested Mtetwa to bring the medical documents after an hour. However, when the court resumed, Mtetwa, who's Mbaiwa's lawyer, renounced urgency, citing the harsh determination against the client. They then asked Mbaiwa for direction, adding that she could look for another lawyer or to proceed with the trial without legal representation. Mbaiwa then said that the magistrate pleases, and the magistrate then said that she has to look for a lawyer and she'll come back today in court with another lawyer.
Truly saddening and unfortunately a reflection of how the rule of law is respected in Zimbabwe now. Some people allege that Mbaiwa was just collateral damage in a bigger power game, a big power game that started with the military coup that placed President Mnangagwa into his presidency. Post that military coup, General Constantine Chiwenga, who was the leader of the military at that time, became the vice president of Zimbabwe, and some folks thought that this was too fragile a position for Mnangagwa, knowing that the man who had brought him power was so close to him, which is why your next story could be considered another strategic move from the president, as he appointed General Sibanda, a current military boss, as a part of the ZANU-PF Politburo. Please tell us more.
Yes, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has drafted Zimbabwe Defense Forces Commander General Philip Valerio Sibanda PF Politburo in a barefaced violation of the national constitution. So the constitution of Zimbabwe states that military people should not be involved in any politics. They should be apolitical. But as it stands, President Mnangagwa made the shock announcement in his closing remarks during a ZANU-PF conference in Gweru on Saturday. A beneficiary of the 2017 military coup, Mnangagwa named the country's top-ranking soldier an ex-official member of the ZANU-PF highest decision-making body in between congresses. Additionally, Comrade General Philip Valerio Sibanda, as an ex-official member of the police, Mnangagwa said that of a military boss who also attended the ZANU-PF conference. Sibanda's appointment is a violation of the national constitution, which says that the defense forces must respect the fundamental rights and freedoms of all persons and be non-partisan, national in character, patriotic, professional, and subordinate to the civilian authority as established by the constitution. While Zimbabwe's known for being embedded in ruling party politics, Sibanda's appointment is an unprecedented case of a serving soldier taking a leadership position within a political party.
And thus nothing has changed, because as you spoke about the constitution and the army, I'm sure Robert Mugabe would have loved to raise his hand with regards to the violations alleged against him. But you know, when you create a system and then the system works against you, who can help? Thank you very much, Talent Gore, for bringing us the news stories from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
Let's take a look at the weather predictions for Southern Africa.
All right, more news on Zimbabwe, which, by the way, has the worst inflation rate in the world. Zimbabwe will extend its multi-currency system with the US dollar as its anchor until 2030, according to an announcement made on Friday. Previously, the government had indicated that the multi-currency system would be phased out by 2025. This has led to uncertainty in the banking sector, with some banks refusing to approve loans beyond 2025. In a government gazette, President Emmerson Mnangagwa revoked the 2019 order that had set the 2025 deadline. The Gazette specifies that settlement of any transaction or payment for goods and services in foreign currency shall be valid until the 31st of December 2030. Economists point out that nearly 80% of local transactions are conducted in US dollars due to diminishing confidence in the Zimbabwean dollar. The largest independent asset manager in Zimbabwe earlier predicted that the US dollar would continue to be the dominant currency.
Swinging over to South Africa, Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande has placed UNISA under administration. This was after he dissolved the institution's council. In a statement on Saturday, Higher Education spokesperson Ishmael Nsi said Nzimande has appointed former University of Johannesburg Vice-Chancellor Professor Aaron Rensburg as administrator for 24 months. The developments follow independent assessor Professor Themba Mosai's findings and recommendations. Mosai's report preceded a ministerial task team report delivered in August 2021, which raised serious concerns about the state of the administration and governance.
All right, we're going to head to the economic indicators just before we return with Arya and the sport. It is a beautiful morning, but nowhere is it more beautiful than in South Africa, as the Springboks have become four-time Rugby World Championships, world champions rather. They've got world championships in their hands, in their bags. Some people saying that makes them the greatest of all time. I feel compelled to agree. A lot was happening, however, over the weekend. English Premier League, Arsenal won, Ketia scoring a hat-trick. And as far as Manchester United losing to Man City goes, that's expected. But what's not expected is this statistic. Sir Alex Ferguson lost 34 times at home in his entire career. Since then, United has lost 34 times at home. It's a collection of about 5 coaches. So, you know, Man United culture continues. Man City keeps singing, go back home. Manchester is ours. United does not have the evidence to say that it's still their city. But Ari Hochad is here with the unbiased news. I'm sure, of course, starting with the legendary Springboks.
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin. Yes, happy times in South Africa. Impressive win. 1 point again. We're all stressed up. Everybody's all big hype this morning going to work. And 1 point is enough. They beat the All Blacks. They're celebrating by 12 points to 11 in a pulsating final. And going back to back, winning in 2019 again. Also in 2019, actually. You mentioned making them the best on the world stage. The statistics do confirm that since for the last 8 World Cups, South Africa won 4 of them. South Africa missed the first two, 1987 and 1991, for the right reasons, of course. So they've won 4 out of the last 8. The All Blacks have won 3 titles from 10 tournaments. So that's why that stat is up there. So it's a tenacious achievement by South Africa. So Siya Kolisi's message after the win is take this beyond the rugby field. I think South Africans need to understand that South Africa and Namibia, we're tenacious people. And so it's not about just drinking for a weekend and celebrating. It's about taking that tenacity into the next phase for South Africa. So well done, Siya Kolisi and his team. Going on to another World Cup that's happening at the moment, Cricket World Cup. It's India that's still unbeaten. India beat England by 100 runs. England quite woeful in this tournament. They're the defending champions. They're on the bottom of the list, 2 wins from 6. So not a good result for England. They're out of the tournament even before this game. And then also on Saturday, Australia beat New Zealand. Not a good sporting weekend for New Zealand by 5 runs, but New Zealand still in the top 4 en route to make the semi-finals in that World Cup. Seems like it might be India, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia aiming for semi-final spots in the World Cup, but there's still 3 games to play there. Then getting to that soccer that you talked about, Ashwin, yes, indeed, they're not a good weekend for Manchester United. They don't have a good season. They're down in number 8 at the moment. And there's some of their players not celebrating, losing 3-0 at home at Old Trafford. So that's Manchester City. It's a big result for Manchester City. And they in the top 4 again. Tottenham Hotspur leading. They won 2-1 away to Crystal Palace. They've got 26 league points after 10 games. Arsenal just behind them, 24, after beating Sheffield United by a thumping 5-0. Arsenal showing good form again this season. Manchester City also 24 points. And then Liverpool also in the top 4 at the moment, 23 points after beating Nottingham Forest 3-0. This coming weekend, the big games, it is Tottenham Hotspur away to Chelsea, Arsenal away to Newcastle, and City at home to Bournemouth, and Liverpool away to Luton. And just to finish off quickly, it's also Grand Prix, Formula 1 Grand Prix that was done. It is Max Verstappen winning again. That's what we always say on a Monday. He's won his 16th race of the season, and amazing, he won from 3rd on the grid. And it was Lewis Hamilton showing Mercedes-Benz coming back, his 2nd, Charles Leclerc 3rd. So all to race for 3 races to go. And it's a race for 2nd place, actually. Verstappen already winning the championship. Sergio Perez, 240 points 2nd. Lewis Hamilton, 220 points 3rd. So they're racing for the last 3 to see who can finish 2nd. The next one is the Mexican, or is it's the Brazilian Grand Prix this coming weekend. That's all the sport news. I can lean over. I can wear my beret from France for the last time. It was great to see the Springboks winning. This comes all the way from Paris, wearing it proudly for Siya Kolisi, winning the World Cup for South Africa there in the Rugby World Cup 2023 in Paris. It was great.
Lovely, lovely. Springboks certainly made Africa proud, and now I will make Glenora proud by allowing her to call the Springboks what she's always wanted to call them.
The Springbokkies won.
Springbokkies. Highlights after the break.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis.
Let's have a look at two of our top highlights from this morning's broadcast. Takealot gives lots back customers to receive millions in refunds following Springbok victory promo. And home countries of major rainforests agree to work together to save them.
And with that, we have come to the end of our broadcast. I am Glenora Shipura.
And I am Ashwin Mberi Suryajakanaka.